Hey, what you gotta say? This is Jackie from Out of the Cloakroom. I'm coming right back at you with part 2 of that excerpt from Urban Tales of the Bible Stories with a Contemporary Urban Flair by T.S. Holder. We were coming from chapter 1, Genesis 29, Jacob makes it to the east side. Please click like and share this video. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to receive notifications of new video content. Share this video with everyone that you know, and thank you in advance to those of you that will click like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Help me spread the word about this book series. All right, now let's get into this. Part 2 of the series, Urban Tales of the Bible Stories with a Contemporary Urban Flair by T.S. Holder. Chapter 1, Genesis 29, Jacob makes it to the east side. We ended the last excerpt after Jacob kissed Rachel and left you with a few questions like, do you think the men approached Jacob and beat him down for pushing up on Rachel? Do you think that Rachel did a famous Oscar 2022 slap on Jacob? Well, today let's find out what exactly happened after that award-winning kiss that Jacob planted on Rachel. Remember now, if you enjoy this content, hit like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, okay? Also, please leave a comment in the comment section.
Here we go.
Jacob overheard the men and thought that he had better pull himself together and start explaining himself. So he said to Rachel, I hope that I didn't offend or scare you, but I'm your cousin on your father's side. My name is Jacob, and my mother's name is Rebecca. She's your aunt, your father's sister. I know that your father Laban has told you stories about my mama. Girl, when Rachel heard this, she left the sheep and her high-end whip. Girlfriend ran to her daddy's house and told him what Jacob had said. She took off so fast and didn't say anything to Jacob or the other men. Jacob really got scared then. He thought, oh Lord, what have I done? She gonna get her people. Ain't no telling what they gonna do to me. Then Jacob started praying out loud. And as he did, the other men took a knee and joined him in prayer because they thought for sure he was a dead man standing. Jacob prayed, Father God, in the name of your son, Jesus, who isn't even born yet and hasn't even been talked about yet, if it pleases you, I ask that you send your angels to protect me from what is about to go down. And all the men said, Amen. You got that right, boy. That dude prayed a righteous prayer. Yes, he did. When Rachel finally reached her house, she said, Daddy, you won't believe it. You just won't believe it. Laban said, what's going on? Why are you all hyped up like that? Did somebody mess with you? Rachel composed herself and said, just last night at dinner, you were telling us a story about your sister Rebecca, and Daddy, lo and behold, her son is at the well. Yes, he is. He said that his name is Jacob, and he is Auntie Becca's son. Come on now, we got to get down to the well quickly. Besides, I was so excited that I ran off and left all of the sheep down there by themselves and my high-end whip that you just bought me. As soon as Rachel finished telling her father, he was ecstatic at the news about Jacob, his sister's son, his nephew, being in the area. Laban made a mad dash to the well to meet him. Once Laban finally got to the well and caught his breath, he grabbed Jacob and gave him a long hug and kissed him on the forehead. Laban grabbed Jacob and his things without saying a word and took him to the house with a quickness. Once they were there and Jacob was settled, they sat down and Jacob told Laban everything. But of course, he didn't tell him how Esau wanted to kill him for stealing his blessing and inheritance. He skipped right over that part, but he did tell him the rest of the story. Jacob's uncle Laban was so excited to see his family and his sister's son at that. He had not seen Rebecca or anyone from that side of the family since the last family funeral. Now, we all know how that goes. Laban said to Jacob, wow, it's unbelievable that you're here. Man, finally, my own flesh and blood. Somebody who looks like my sister. Wow, that's just unreal. Remember now that Jacob was on a mission to find a wife. Yes, he was running from what he had done to his brother, but his parents also told him to find a wife. So let's move the story ahead just a little bit. Now, Jacob had been at his uncle's place for about a month or so, working for his uncle for free. Sometimes family expects that from us. especially when you come unannounced and stay for a long period of time. You know, after a few days, family is usually ready for you to leave and go on home. You're eating up all their food, sucking up their air conditioning, and running up their water bill. Van was maybe just a little different, and he started feeling some kind of way about Jacob working for free. After all, he wasn't broke or rich, but he definitely wasn't hurting for money. So he had a little meeting with Jacob and said, "Look, young blood, just because we're family does not mean that you should work for me for free. I feel kind of bad about that. It just don't feel right deep down in my spirit. So tell me, how much do you think I should pay you? What do you think you and your skills are worth? Speak up, young blood, speak up." Now, before we get to Jacob's answer, let's take a look at something that's just laying around in the background waiting to be addressed. Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older daughter was Leah. The name of the younger daughter was Rachel. Leah was somewhat aesthetically challenged, meaning the girl was just plain ugly. Girl, no. The girl had weak eyes, that's the way the Bible put it. But we know that means she was ugly. And she wasn't as pretty as her sister Rachel, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was gorgeous. Jacob was a witness to that, and he started checking for Rachel the moment he saw her. Why else do you think he pushed that huge stone from the well by himself and watered the sheep that Rachel was supposed to water? If that's not enough proof, bruh kissed her at the well and didn't even know her name. Yes, Jacob fell hard and quick for Rachel. His nose was wide open, and he was in love with Rachel at first sight. Jacob was so in love that when his uncle asked him the question about his pay, Jacob thought it was the perfect opportunity to make his intentions known. Jacob finally replied to his uncle Laban, "Well, Unc, I'll work for you for 7 years for free, just as long as at the end of those 7 years, I can be with Rachel, your younger daughter, my youngest cousin, Rachel." Now, notice here that Jacob specified your younger daughter, my youngest cousin, Rachel. He wanted to be sure that there was no misunderstanding about why he was working so hard and what he expected at the end of those 7 years. He didn't want to get stuck with Leah. He had only been there for a month or so, but he noticed that Laban never sent Leah with the sheep. He only ever sent Rachel out into the public eye. He was trying to get Rachel noticed by the other shepherds, but he kept Leah in the background because of her weak eyes. Now, we all know again that weak eyes meant that her ugliness made your eyes weak to look at her. Now, if Jacob had been thinking about it, his uncle's question, and him feeling bad about Jacob working for free for him, he could have asked for Rachel right then and there since he had been working for free. She could have been back pay, so to speak, but that shows how precious Rachel was to Jacob. A man that offers to work 7 years for free for a woman to become his wife is truly in love. You gotta think, Jacob didn't have a desk job or a kitchen job. He was in for some serious physical labor. Jacob was used to working in the kitchen when he was at home with mom and dad, so his body had some adjusting to do, and he had a lot to learn. Now, after Laban heard Jacob's offer, he tried to play it off and said, "Well, I guess it would be better that I gave her to you and keep her in the family." All right. That sounds like a plan, young blood. Work for me for free for 7 years, and Rachel is all yours. So with the deal being made, Jacob worked 7 hard years and did his job with perfection because he thought that he would be getting perfection when he finally got Rachel. To Jacob, those 7 years seemed like only a few days because he was head over heels for Rachel. Bruh's nose was Mack truck wide open. But it is apparent that Jacob forgot all about what the men at the well said. Remember, one of them muttered under his breath that Laban was conniving? Well, let's see if it's true or not. After 7 years, Jacob went to his uncle and said, "All right then, it's time for you to give me my wifey, my bae, my Rachel. I did my 7 years with style, and I want my bae Rachel. It's time that I'm able to show Rachel just how much I love her." Here it is. Up jumps the devil. Laban was just like his scheming, ear-hustling sister Rebecca. He had been plotting, planning, scheming, and preparing for this day. He had the last 7 years to put this game plan together. Laban thought that since Jacob loved Rachel so much, he would use this to his advantage. So he had a big house party in Jacob's honor and invited all the people in the Big H to come. He had food, wine, and music everywhere. The house party was lit. The house party was talked about months months after it was over. Now, after the party ended and it was time for Jacob to be with Rachel, Laban thought to himself, let the games begin. Camera, set, action. Laban gave his maid Zilpah to Leah as her assistant and said to Leah, now, daughter, I want you to go and sneak into that tent with Jacob and take your sister's place. Leah replied, no, Daddy, no. How dare you ask me to do that? I can't do that to my baby sister. She's crazy over Jacob. Why in the world would you ask me to do something like that? Are you for real right now? Laban replied, girl, if you don't get your crack in that tent, now you know that this is about the only way I'm going to be able to get you a man to marry you off. No man that has seen you in the light of day, or any other light for that matter, has offered to marry you since we've been here. No one has been checking for you, Leah. You know that every man here in the East has seen you, and not one of them has asked to even go out with you. So this is your one and only chance to get a husband. Girl, hurry up and get your crack in that tent with that man and make sure that the lights stay off until morning. Now, if this doesn't sound just like that same mess Rebecca pulled on Isaac and Esau, messiness must run in the family. Well, family, I'm going to end it right there and leave you in suspense once again. Do you think that Leah went into the tent with Jacob? Do you think she'll go in there? And if she does go in there, do you think that Jacob will recognize that she is not his beloved Rachel? Well, remember, if you enjoyed this content, hit like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. When you hit the bell, you will know when I am on again for part 3 of this and other content. Also, please leave a comment in the comment section. You can purchase this series, Urban Tales of the Bible, Bible Stories with a Contemporary Urban Flair by T.S. Holder, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 on Amazon.com, Apple Books, or Barnes & Noble, or if you would like an autographed copy, which I personally think is better, send an email to T.S. Holder at suprl@gmail.com. I will put this down in the description. Just put autographed copies in the subject line. Now, this series is also a great idea for a birthday gift. Pastor's anniversary, church anniversary. It can be raffled off. Mother's Day is coming up. Father's Day is following that. So just plan ahead. And also don't forget, you got Christmas coming up. You can get started early. Well, thanks for listening. And remember, those that love the Lord will do great exploits. So go on out there and be great.
Hit, hit, hit.